So good afternoon, everybody. Today I have the pleasure of talking to Rob. Rob, please introduce yourself and your company to the community.
Sure, thank you. So my name's Rob Handy. I run a business called Independent Gyms, which is essentially we're a membership platform for owners and operators of the independent fitness facilities. So those sort of one-man bands across the UK. So yeah, that's what we do.
It sounds amazing. I wasn't expecting that. That's really interesting. And how long have you done this for?
There's two answers to that, really. So officially, we've been running for just over 2 years. We just had a sort of end of year in July. Unofficially, though, we've been supporting independent gyms probably for about 4 or 5 years now, because essentially we formed out of a Facebook group. So we had this little Facebook group that kept growing and growing. We built a community and then essentially commercialized that community to provide value back to gym owners. So yeah, so we've going a little while. It feels a lot longer at times.
No, and that's amazing. And actually, I'm therefore going to mention the C word, which is COVID.
Yeah.
Because it almost sounds like that was a period of growth and development for you. How did you progress and move throughout that period?
It sounds wrong to say this, but COVID was almost a perfect scenario for us. So in the build up to that, we had ideas what we wanted to do, but it was having the confidence, if you like, to develop those plans. When COVID hit, for the industry was devastating, as it was for most people. For us as a business, it gave us time to pause, but our community grew threefold within about 2 or 3 months. So we went from 800 members to 2,000 members almost overnight. And we had the economies of scale that we needed then to confidently go out and develop what we wanted to develop. So whilst it was a nightmare for our gym owners and the operators, for us, it gave us that chance just to really accelerate our plans. Probably brought everything forward for us, probably about a year or two, but the rate we were developing. And it just gave us that chance to really kick on and develop what we wanted to develop. So yeah. I couldn't say it was good, but it was fruitful for us, to say that.
A time for change and progression. Yes. It sounds like fantastic. And since starting your business, what would you say that one of your biggest learnings has been?
For me, it's probably that I can't do everything myself. I've always had aspirations of owning and running my own business. I've been employed all my life. I'm 42 now, so I've always been employed until this year. And in my head, it's that I had to do everything, or I had to understand everything and manage everything. And the reality of it is I don't understand everything. So we call on partners and the experts to do those roles for us. The tricky bit is being able to grow quick enough to then pay the relevant people to do the thing that we need them to do. Having experts around you is 100% the right thing to do, and especially for a small business like us. So I'm not even going to attempt to do my books. We've got an element of marketing, but we're going to outsource that for next year. We'll need sales and persons. So it's bringing in the people that can do the job for you. And then I can concentrate on the relationships and building the overall business whilst those are going off and doing the specifics.
That's fantastic, and some of those learnings are amazing. Like working on is equally as powerful and important as working in at the beginning as well.
100%, yeah. So you'd say when we started, it took me back to it felt like I'd gone back to my membership sales days. So I grew up in the industry selling gym memberships, and then 10, 15 years on, it's like I've gone back to selling memberships. But we know it has to happen. But as we grow, we'll bring people in to do that for us.
Amazing. And what would you say that your biggest success has been so far?
The reputation that we've built is without doubt huge. And I think that's the thing I'm most proud of, is that we've finally been able to cater for an element of the industry that's always been overlooked, for want of a better word. Not because people don't want to help the independents. Everybody wants to work with independents, but it's a lot of legwork in this industry to deal with the individual sites. Most companies, regardless of supply, will aim for the big leisure trusts, the chain gyms, people like Pure Gym and the Gym Group, because they buy in bulk and they'll operate contracts in bulk. Whereas our guys are the little individual guys that are collectively probably more valuable, but the effort to reach all those independent gyms is a lot harder. So for me, being able to develop a reputation in the industry where people are coming to us to want to get involved, that's been the biggest success for me.
Fantastic. And that was going to lead me into, but you may have already alluded to it, your number one customer.
Yeah, essentially. So there's two elements. We're very focused on providing value back to the gym owner. And we say we want to help them make money and save money. That's the two main aims. And everything we do hopefully contributes to doing that. So the independent gym, we talk about owner-operated facilities. So the typical facility, it could be a bodybuilding gym, it could be a health club, it could be a studio or a PT studio, but they have to be working in the business. That's the typical customer for us. So that's the one element. But then at the same time, we have commercial relationships with our partners, so the brands that work in the industry, and we're very conscious of providing them value as well. For me, as long as I provide as much value as possible to the gym, they'll incorporate what the partners do, so that will spin off to them. So those one-man bands, if you like, those independent gyms that's everything we're about.
Fantastic. And I'm sure they're going to be pleased to learn that there is somebody there thinking about them. You said that, obviously you've started your business, you're growing. What excites you the most right now for the future?
I think still the growth that we've got. We've been going for 2 years. I've been doing this full time since February this year. We're hardly scratching the surface of what we can do. There's 3,000-ish gyms that fit within our mold in the UK. And we're working with, at the moment, we've got, from an official membership, about 150 of those. But we've got about 2,000 within our community and the Facebook group and so on. We've got such massive capacity for growth. Yes, as a business, for us to make more money and bring more people on and that kind of thing, but also to provide far more support to the industry as a whole. So for me, it's just a huge growth potential, which is probably going to take us 2 or 3 years to get to the level where we're, I say happy because we're happy with what we're doing, but 2 or 3 years to reach a point where we're really making a big difference and we can bring the independents in line with the chains in terms of buying power and the general perception of that sector of the industry. So there's big scope out there for us.
Fantastic. How exciting. And just looking back on your journey so far, what's one of the biggest challenges that you've perhaps faced and how you've overcome that?
From a personal perspective, was more about having the confidence to get started, if you like. I've always wanted to do something for myself, but having that confidence, it was almost, I had a stepping stone. So I didn't just completely stop one thing and start another. We built this community alongside, but it was still, the challenge was still there, and having the confidence for me to say, I'm going to walk away from that good salary that I was getting to basically pay myself now and be 100% responsible for everything. So that was a sort of personal challenge, if you like. From a business challenge, it's all about providing value to the gym owner. And that's where we're constantly looking at what we can do for them within their membership for them to keep working with us. So it's a continual learning curve. And we do some things that work really well, and then we try other things and they don't land. So then we have to rethink and reevaluate and go again. But we've got this core. The challenge is adding more value so we get more gyms join us. Not about making more money, obviously we want to, but the more revenue we make, the more support we can bring in to accelerate that growth even further and provide more value back to the gyms.
Sounds fantastic. And finally, what advice would you give somebody finding that confidence and starting out on their own?
For me, I would say do it in phases almost. So develop something alongside your day-to-day. People talk about a side hustle, and I think it's a bit cliche, but there's things you can do alongside that to bring your side gig in line with your main role. And at that point, the stepping stone is easy. So that's essentially what we did. We had the business to a point where I wasn't too much of a leap. I almost swapped salary for salary, but it just put the pressure on me to can maintain that income. So that's for me. Yeah, if people want to go for it, I think it's an amazing thing to do. It's such a buzz. It's stressful. It's all those things, but it's worth it. So just develop something on the side that lets you transition across instead of dropping one thing and completely going for it.
Fantastic. Thank you. And good luck to your future success.
Thank you very much.